Americans pour over 700 million bottles of hot sauce a year, and most people have no idea that half the bottles on the shelf are quietly wrecking their sodium levels, their gut, and even their taste buds. You probably have one in your fridge right now that belongs in the trash, and a couple that deserve a permanent spot on the door. Behind those bright labels and bold flavors hide preservatives, artificial dyes, sugar bombs, and fake chemical heat that has nothing to do with real peppers. The marketing is loud, the bottles look exciting, and the prices feel reasonable, but the ingredient lists tell a very different story once you actually flip them over and read what's inside. I am about to expose the hot sauce brands you should never buy and the ones actually worth your money. Let's start with the bottles you should put back on the shelf. Number 11. Frank's RedHot Original. Almost every kitchen in America has had one of these at some point. It's cheap, it's everywhere, and it's been around long enough that nobody questions it. That's exactly the problem. Read the label and you'll notice it leans heavily on distilled vinegar as the dominant ingredient, with aged cayenne peppers, water, salt, and garlic powder rounding out the formula. What you're really tasting is acidic sourness with a thin layer of heat painted on top. A single teaspoon delivers around 190 milligrams of sodium, and most people use far more than a teaspoon when they're shaking it onto wings, eggs, or pizza. There's no real fermentation depth, no complex pepper character, just vinegar, salt, and a flavor profile that masks food instead of enhancing it. The formula hasn't meaningfully changed in decades, which sounds like a virtue, but really just means the recipe was built for shelf life and mass appeal, not flavor. If you want real flavor, look for sauces where peppers are listed first, not vinegar. Sodium overload is just the entry point. The next bottle takes a darker turn into territory that has nothing to do with food at all. Number 10. Mad Dog 357 and similar extract sauces. You've seen these at checkout counters and gas stations, marketed like a dare with skulls and warning labels on the front. The bottles promise pain, and they deliver, but not from real peppers. Mad Dog 357 and sauces in its category rely heavily on capsaicin extract, an industrial-strength compound that delivers raw heat without flavor. It's the same compound used in pepper spray, just diluted down for human consumption. Real chili heat comes with complexity. Fruitiness from habaneros, smokiness from chipotles, brightness from Fresnos, earthiness from anchos. Extract heat is one-dimensional and brutal, hitting the back of your throat like sandpaper and leaving nothing behind but discomfort. Beyond the bad flavor, high-dose capsaicin can irritate the stomach lining, trigger acid reflux, worsen ulcers, and in some cases cause genuine gastrointestinal distress that lingers for hours. The warning labels on these bottles aren't gimmicks. They're legitimately telling you the product can be harmful in larger amounts. These bottles exist for shock content and YouTube challenge videos, not for actually eating. Skip them. From fake heat to fake sweetness. The next bottle is hiding dessert in a hot sauce label. Number 9. Sweet Baby Ray's hot sauce. You squeeze it onto wings expecting tang and heat, and instead you get syrupy sweetness that coats your tongue and overwhelms the meat underneath. That's not an accident. Sweet Baby Ray's built its empire on sugar-forward barbecue sauces, and their hot sauce line follows the same playbook. Many of these sweeter hot sauces pack 4 to 6 grams of sugar per tablespoon, most of it from high-fructose corn syrup or refined sugar dressed up with words like natural on the front label. Use it on a full plate of wings, and you've quietly added 20 grams of sugar to your meal before you've eaten a single bite of food. Regular sugar at that level links directly to insulin spikes, fatty liver buildup, weight gain over time, and the kind of energy crashes that hit an hour after eating. Worse, the sweetness drowns the actual pepper flavor, so you're buying a sauce that's barely a hot sauce at all. It's a glaze with delusions of grandeur. Check the label. If sugar or corn syrup appears in the top 3 ingredients, put it back on the shelf and walk away. Sugar problem handled. Now let's look at marketing pretending to be a product. Number 8. Hot Ones branded sauces and similar celebrity collaborations. Every few years, a famous face or a hit show slaps a name on a bottle and the internet loses its mind. The launch sells out within hours, the reviews flood social media, the unboxing videos go viral, and then people quietly stop talking about it within a month. There's a reason. Many of these collaboration sauces are manufactured by third-party contract producers using familiar mass-market formulas, then dressed up with premium pricing and influencer marketing campaigns. You can end up paying $8 to $15 for a bottle that costs under $2 to actually produce and offers nothing you couldn't get from an established craft sauce at half the price. The ingredient lists often read remarkably similar to grocery store staples: vinegar, peppers, salt, preservatives, sometimes a trendy pepper like Reaper or Scorpion thrown in for the marketing copy on the back. Fame isn't flavor, hype isn't fermentation. A photo or logo on the front isn't quality on the inside. Read the back of the bottle, not the front, and judge accordingly. Before we keep going, if you're finding this useful, hit subscribe and like the video. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people. Alright, let's get back to it. Number 7. Anchor Bar, buffalo wing sauce, and similar bottled wing sauces. It looks innocent, orange, creamy, classic American comfort food in a familiar bottle. But pour it into a pan and you'll see the slick of industrial oil separate out almost immediately, floating to the surface in a way real butter never would. Most mass-market buffalo wing sauces, including bottled versions from Anchor Bar and competitors, rely on soybean oil, palm oil blends, butter flavoring, and chemical emulsifiers to mimic the texture of real butter-based wing sauce served fresh at a restaurant. You're getting roughly 9 grams of fat per serving, most of it from refined oils linked to inflammation, plus stabilizers like xanthan gum, sodium benzoate, and modified food starch to keep the bottle shelf stable for years on a grocery store shelf. None of that exists in actual buffalo sauce, which is just hot sauce and butter whisked together. The original recipe from Buffalo, New York is 2 ingredients and takes 30 seconds to make at home. If you want the real thing, skip the bottled shortcut. The bottled version is a chemistry experiment wearing a wing sauce costume. From fake butter to fake sriracha. The next one borrows a name it didn't earn. Number 6. Lee Kum Kee Sriracha Chili Sauce and Other Sriracha Imitators. The original Huifong Sriracha, the one with the rooster and the green cap, built its reputation on sun-ripened red jalapenos grown in California and a specific fermentation process that takes weeks to develop the signature tang. The knockoffs and imitators copy the bottle shape, the cap color, even rooster-adjacent imagery on the label, but the inside is something else entirely. Many imitators use unfermented chili paste, heavier preservatives like sodium benzoate and potassium sorbate, and significantly more sugar to compensate for the missing depth that real fermentation provides. A side-by-side taste test makes the difference obvious. The Huifong original has tang, funk, slow-building heat, and a satisfying garlic backbone. The imitators often hit sweet and flat with no finish, like watered-down ketchup with chili powder. Some versions even rely on added red coloring to deepen the appearance since their actual pepper content is too low to provide it naturally. If you're going to buy sriracha, buy the real fermented original. The lookalikes are sugar water with chili coloring and false advertising in spirit. Fermentation matters. The next sauce skips it entirely and replaces it with chemistry. Number 5. La Victoria Green Salsa Jalapeno and similar bright green bottled sauces. Real jalapeno sauce is olive green to dull army green, the natural color of cooked peppers oxidizing slightly over time. If the bottle looks neon, almost glowing under the store lights, that's usually because of added coloring or stabilizers designed to keep the product looking fresh on a shelf for months. Some bottled green hot sauces in this category also rely on potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate as preservatives, which have been studied for potential gut microbiome disruption when consumed regularly over months and years. The flavor in many mass-market versions is one note, sharp vinegar with a vague jalapeno hint that fades within seconds, because the peppers themselves are barely present in meaningful amounts. The whole product is engineered to look fresh and vibrant on a shelf rather than to actually taste like roasted jalapenos. Look for a green sauce with a muted, natural color and a short ingredient list. Anything neon is dyed water with attitude. Artificial color is bad. The next bottle's problem is straight-up sugar. Number 4. May Ploy Sweet Chili Sauce. It markets itself as a dipping sauce, which is technically true, but the sugar load makes it function more like dessert syrup with a chili leaf drawn on the label. A standard 2 tablespoon serving of May ploy contains around 16 grams of sugar, and other sweet chili sauces in the same category climb even higher. That's roughly the same as a glazed donut packed into a condiment bottle. People pour it on rice bowls, chicken, noodles, shrimp, and spring rolls without realizing they're tripling the sugar content of an otherwise healthy meal. The heat is barely there, registering well under 500 on the Scoville scale, which is roughly the heat of a pickled banana pepper. The flavor profile leans almost entirely on sweetness, with a tang of vinegar and a whisper of garlic. If you want chili sweetness without the sugar bomb, make a quick version at home with honey, garlic, rice vinegar, and chili flakes. You'll cut the sugar significantly and get real, layered flavor in return. Sugar overload again. The next bottle hides something different in the fine print. Number 3. Imported hot sauces with unclear labeling. Some imported hot sauces are genuinely excellent and bring authentic regional flavors you can't find anywhere else. Others, particularly bargain imports from less regulated markets, can be loaded with preservatives and additives that aren't disclosed as prominently overseas as they are domestically in the United States. Common concerns include sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, artificial coloring agents, and in older or poorly imported bottles, even formulations that wouldn't pass current FDA review standards. Storage matters too. Bottles that sat in shipping containers for months in fluctuating temperatures can develop off flavors, separate, or break down chemically before they ever reach your kitchen. The expiration dating system also varies wildly by country, with some labels showing manufacturing date instead of best by date, which can confuse buyers into using sauce that's well past its prime. If a bottle has no English ingredient label, no clear manufacturing date, no nutrition panel, or no importer information on the back, treat it as a gamble rather than a purchase. Authenticity is great. Mystery chemistry is not. From hidden additives to a sauce that's barely sauce at all. Number 2. Wing Time buffalo wing sauce and similar thick bottled wing sauces. Walk down the condiment aisle and you'll spot them. Thick, opaque, neon orange, sold in plastic squeeze bottles that look almost identical to ranch dressing containers. Pick one up and actually read the label carefully. The first ingredient in many of these is soybean oil or a vegetable oil blend, followed by water, then vinegar, then far down the list, the peppers themselves in some token amount. You're buying oil with food coloring, emulsifiers, and a whisper of chili flavor wrapped in marketing language about wings and game day. Saturated and refined fats dominate the nutrition panel, with some bottles hitting 10 grams of fat and 400 milligrams of sodium per 2 tablespoon serving. And that's before you've added it to actual food. The bottle is engineered to coat wings thickly without breaking down, which sounds appealing until you realize the coating is mostly industrial oil. That's not a sauce. That's a fat delivery system in disguise. Real wing sauce should be thin, sharp, vinegar-forward, and pepper-driven. If it pours like dressing and clings like glue, it's not what it's pretending to be. And now, the worst offender of all. Number 1. Generic store-brand hot sauces in bulk jugs. You've seen them. Gallon-sized house brands at warehouse clubs and restaurant supply stores, sometimes even larger, priced shockingly low compared to anything else on the shelf. There's a reason they're that cheap, and it's not because the company is being generous. The pepper content is minimal, often listed near the bottom of the ingredient list behind water, vinegar, and salt. The vinegar itself is the lowest grade available, and the rest of the bottle is filler. Water, salt, artificial coloring agents like red dye 40, preservatives like sodium benzoate, and sometimes thickening agents like xanthan gum or modified starch to give the illusion of body and richness the actual peppers can't provide. Sodium levels can climb past 250 milligrams per teaspoon, which adds up fast when restaurants and home cooks pour it freely. The dye load alone is enough that the sauce can permanently stain plastic containers, countertops, and even cutting boards. Restaurants buy these for cost reasons and consistency, not flavor or quality. If you're stocking your own kitchen, skip the jug entirely and never look back. A small bottle of real hot sauce will outperform a gallon of this every single time, so those are the bottles draining your wallet and spiking your blood pressure. Now let's flip the cap and look at the hot sauces that are actually worth every drop. So those are the 11 bottles you should leave on the shelf. The sugar bombs, the chemical heat, the fake butter sauces, and the dyed-up imitators draining your wallet and quietly damaging your health one squeeze at a time. But here's the good news. Not every bottle in the hot sauce aisle is hiding something. A few brands have spent decades, sometimes over a century, doing it the right way. Real peppers, real fermentation, clean labels, and honest pricing. These are the bottles that actually deserve a permanent spot in your fridge. The ones chefs reach for, the ones that make eggs taste better, the ones where a single drop does more work than half a bottle of the cheap stuff. So let's flip the cap and count down the 5 hot sauces that are genuinely worth every penny. Starting at number 5. Number 5. Cholula Original. Walk into almost any diner, taqueria, or breakfast spot in America, and you'll find that little wooden-capped bottle sitting on the table next to the salt and pepper. There's a reason it's earned that real estate. The ingredient list is refreshingly short. Arbol and pecan peppers, water, vinegar, salt, and a small amount of spices including garlic powder. No corn syrup, no artificial dye, no mystery thickeners or stabilizers. The heat sits in a comfortable middle range, around 1,000 to 2,000 Scoville units, which means almost anyone can use it without wincing or sweating through their meal. It enhances eggs, tacos, rice bowls, soups, grilled meats, and even pizza without overpowering the food underneath. At around $4 to $5 a bottle, it's one of the best price-to-flavor ratios on the entire shelf. The wooden cap isn't just aesthetic either. It's become a recognizable signal of quality that other brands have tried to copy without matching what's inside. A clean label, a workhorse profile, and decades of consistency. That's why it earns its spot. Workhorse handled. The next one brings something the others can't fake. Number 4. Yellowbird. This is where craft hot sauce starts genuinely pulling ahead of mass-market options. Yellowbird builds its sauces around real pureed peppers, organic carrots, garlic, onion, and citrus juice, not vinegar as the base. The result is a thicker, richer sauce that actually clings to food instead of running off the side of the plate. The habanero variety in particular has a fruity, slightly sweet heat that comes from the peppers themselves, not from added sugar or syrup. Sodium levels stay reasonable at around 50 milligrams per teaspoon, which is roughly a quarter of what you'll find in many of the grocery store staples on the avoid list. It pairs especially well with eggs, avocado toast, roasted vegetables, tacos, and grain bowls, where a richer texture actually matters. The bottles run a little more expensive, around $6 to $8 depending on where you buy them, but the ingredient quality and flavor concentration justify the price easily. One squeeze does the work of 3 squeezes from a thinner sauce. Real ingredients, real flavor. The next bottle takes flavor even further with depth and complexity. Number 3. Secret Aardvark Habanero Hot Sauce. The name is goofy, the bottle looks like a craft beer label, but the sauce inside is genuinely excellent and has built a cult following for good reason. The base combines roasted tomatoes, habaneros, and vinegar in a way that lands somewhere between a hot sauce and a finishing condiment, almost like a hybrid of salsa and traditional hot sauce. It's tangy, smoky, complex, and carries a slow-building heat that doesn't punish you or overwhelm the food. The ingredient list stays clean. No corn syrup, no artificial color, no questionable preservatives or stabilizers padding out the bottle. What makes it stand out from competitors is its versatility across applications. It works as a marinade for chicken, a wing sauce base, a sandwich spread for burgers, a topping for grilled meats, a mix-in for chili, and even a Bloody Mary ingredient. One bottle genuinely replaces 3 or 4 other condiments cluttering your fridge door. At around $7 to $8, it's the kind of sauce people quietly hoard and recommend to friends once they discover it. Tangy and complex. The next one goes all in on fermentation. Number 2. Bushwick Kitchen. Weak knees, gochujang sriracha, and quality fermented hot sauces in that broader category. Fermentation is what separates good hot sauce from genuinely great hot sauce. When peppers ferment over weeks or months, they develop layers of flavor, funk, umami, depth, slight tang, even subtle sweetness. that no amount of vinegar or sugar can fake or replicate artificially. Fermented sauces also carry small amounts of beneficial bacteria when unpasteurized, supporting gut health in the same way kimchi, sauerkraut, or miso does. The ingredient lists are usually short and refreshingly transparent. Peppers, salt, sometimes garlic, sometimes a base like gochujang or miso, and thyme. That's essentially it. The flavor is unmistakable once you've had it. Richer, slower, more satisfying, and far more complex than anything vinegar-forward could ever be. These sauces run pricier, often $10 or more for a smaller bottle, but a little goes a remarkably long way because the flavor is so concentrated. If you've never tried a real fermented hot sauce, this entire category is worth exploring. And now, the best of them all. Number 1. Tabasco Original Red. It's been made the same way since 1868 on Avery Island in Louisiana, and that consistency across more than 150 years is exactly why it lands at the top of this list. The ingredient list is 3 things: red peppers, distilled vinegar, and salt. That's it. The peppers are aged in white oak barrels for up to 3 years before being processed, which is genuine extended fermentation, the kind that builds the complex tang and depth Tabasco is famous for around the world. There's no added sugar, no artificial dye, no chemical preservatives, no thickeners, no stabilizers, no fillers of any kind. A teaspoon contains around 35 milligrams of sodium, dramatically lower than almost every sauce on the avoid list, sometimes by a factor of 5 or 6 times. It works on eggs, oysters, gumbo, Bloody Marys, soups, beans, meat, and basically anything that needs a sharp punch of flavor. One small bottle lasts months because the flavor is so concentrated that a few drops do real work. At $3 to $4 per bottle, it's affordable, shelf-stable for years even after opening, and arguably the most honest hot sauce ever made anywhere. Simple ingredients, real fermentation, generations of consistency, and a price tag that respects the customer. That's what earns the top spot on this list. So now you know which hot sauces deserve room in your fridge and which ones quietly sabotage your meals. Reading the back of the bottle takes 10 seconds and saves you from months of bad flavor and worse ingredients. But hot sauce isn't the only condiment hiding something. There's another bottle sitting in almost every American kitchen right now that's even worse than most of these. And most people use it every single day without thinking twice. That's where we're heading next. Check out the video.